There's been a huge amount happening in early years safeguarding recently. We have seen serious criminal cases, concerns about large nursery groups, questions about whistleblowing, a child collected by the wrong adult, gaps in safer recruitment, and a national debate about whether CCTV should become compulsory. I think it's important that we talk about what these cases are really telling us, not to frighten people, not to suggest that every nursery is unsafe. Safeguarding only improves when we're willing to look honestly at what's gone wrong and ask what could work better. Most early years practitioners care enormously about the children they look after. But good intentions are not, on their own, a safeguarding system. People are busy. Settings are under financial pressure. Managers are carrying an enormous responsibility. Information can be passed verbally, written in different places, forgotten during a busy day, or dismissed because it doesn't initially appear serious. And that is where small gaps become significant. In one case, staff and parents had raised concerns about a nursery worker. Those concerns eventually caused a manager to review CCTV footage, and that footage revealed serious offending involving several children. The CCTV was important evidence, but the cameras did not stop the abuse. It did not decide that something was wrong, and they did not review themselves. People had to notice something, feel able to raise it, and trust that somebody would act. That distinction matters because the government is currently considering the future use of CCTV in early years settings. CCTV may help protect children and staff, but it may help an investigation or understand exactly what happened, but it's usually reactive. By the time somebody is watching the footage, something concerning may already have happened. The earlier safeguarding opportunity comes before that. Practitioner notices that a colleague is repeatedly taking a particular child away from the group. Somebody feels uncomfortable about the way a colleague handles intimate care. A parent makes a comment that does not, on its own, appear to amount to an allegation. A member of staff sees behaviour that simply does not feel right. Will they record it? Can they do so easily? Will the right person receive it? Will it be taken seriously? And will it be looked at alongside anything else that had been recorded? This is where On the Button can help. It gives practitioners a straightforward way to record what they have noticed, including an anonymous whistleblowing route. The appropriate senior person is alerted, actions and outcomes can be added, and a chronological report develops as further information is recorded. No system can guarantee that every person will make the right decision, but it can help make sure there is a record that the concern existed and something was done about it. Another recent incident involved a 2-year-old child being released to a grandfather of a different child. He was known to the staff and authorised to collect his own grandchild, but he was not authorised to collect the child handed to him. He drove away before realising the mistake and returning her. Thankfully, she was returned safely. But this was a safeguarding incident. It shows how familiarity, pressures and routine can sometimes replace the check that should have taken place. Now, On the Button is not a child collection system, and I would never claim it is, but there is still an important connection. What if there had been a near miss the previous week? Perhaps somebody had almost handed the child to the wrong adult. Perhaps an unauthorised collection password had not been checked. Perhaps a practitioner had noticed that the collection arrangements were becoming rushed or inconsistent. Would that have been recorded as a safeguarding concern? Would anybody have recognised a pattern? Would leaders across a nursery group have known that the procedure was slipping? And after a serious incident, can the setting clearly record what happened? the parental complaint, the investigation, the actions taken, the changes made, and whether those changes are being followed. Safeguarding is not only about responding after deliberate abuse, it's also about noticing where everyday systems are becoming unsafe and acting before a near miss becomes something much worse. We've also recently seen a major nursery provider receive enforcement action at a group level after weaknesses were identified across a number of settings. That is significant because it moves the question beyond, is this individual nursery doing the right thing? It asks, does the organisation know whether the right thing is happening consistently everywhere? The nursery group may have excellent managers. It may have detailed policies. It may provide safeguarding training. But can its senior leaders see whether concerns are being recorded consistently? Can they see whether managers are responding? Can they identify recurring concerns across different settings? Can they recognise when small pieces of information are forming into a much bigger picture? And can they demonstrate that training is influencing everyday practice rather than simply producing certificates? A shared system does not replace good leadership, but it does give leaders something essential, a clearer view of what's actually being recorded and followed through across the organisation. This is one of the reasons On the Button was designed to work across one setting or many. A clear DBS check is not the end of safer recruitment. Another recent case involved a person who secured work in a nursery using false references. The setting had received a clear DBS result, even though the person had already been arrested because that information had not yet appeared through the checking system. There was no evidence that children at the nursery had been harmed, thank goodness. But the case is a reminder that a DBS check is the only one part of safer recruitment. It is the check at a particular point of time. It cannot replace proper references, asking difficult questions, observing practice, supervision, professional curiosity, and continuing to consider whether someone remains suitable. On the Button cannot reveal information that the police or DBS have not supplied. But what it can do is help settings keep important, safer recruitment information together. Record checks and provide reminders so that recruitment and training processes do not become a one-off paper exercise that is then forgotten. An inspection is only a snapshot. We have seen a nursery suspended only months after an inspection found that it was meeting the expected standards. That does not mean automatically that the earlier inspection was wrong. Circumstances change, staff change, new information emerges. But it reinforces something early years leaders already know. An inspection can only provide a snapshot. Safeguarding has to work every day between inspections. It has to work on a busy Monday morning. It has to work when the manager is absent. It has to work when staffing is difficult. It has to work when somebody notices something that is too small, too uncertain, or too uncomfortable to raise. And it has to work when the person raising a concern is worried about how others will react. Where settings should invest is understandably a great deal of discussion, particularly around settings investing in CCTV. For many providers, installing and maintaining cameras across every room would be a significant cost. There may be benefits, and the government review will have to consider those carefully. But cameras alone cannot create a safeguarding culture. They cannot make practitioners confident enough to speak up. They cannot alert the DSL when somebody records a worry. They cannot bring together concerns about a child, family, or a colleague. It can't show whether the concern was acknowledged or what action was taken. And they cannot ensure that lessons was learned from one incident. that it's understood elsewhere in a nursery group. Where money is tight, an affordable system that makes it simple to record concerns may be one of the most practical safeguarding investments a setting can make. Because the aim should not be to find evidence after something serious has happened. The aim should be to recognise and act on concerns as early as possible. These recent cases are different. Some involve appalling criminal behaviour. Some involve procedures not being followed. Some involve warnings that were not acted upon. Some involve information that was not available when people needed it. No system can remove every safeguarding risk, and On the Button cannot promise that no child will ever be harmed. But what it can do is strengthen what happens around a concern. It can make recording easier. It can alert the people who need to know. It can help practitioners raise concerns about children, families, or colleagues. It can provide an anonymous route for somebody who is frightened to speak openly. It can record the actions and outcomes. It can build a chronology. And it can help leaders recognise patterns before small concerns are lost, forgotten, or viewed separately. Because the question is not only, did someone notice? The question is, was it recorded? Did the right person know? And what happened next? That's why we created On the Button, to help early years settings make the right safeguarding actions easier to take while there is still time to make a difference. Good safeguarding helps concerns surface sooner. Notice it, record it, act on it. See how On the Button works in practice. We're onthebutton.com. Bye for now.